Well, the history of photography has always fascinated me. It's a way that we've recorded the history of man since photography was invented. It's a great medium. This week, actually yesterday, I was given a very special gift. It's a set of Kodak glass plates. They're all exposed, and from what I've done a little bit of research on overnight, I think they were actually made or at least exposed around 1930. They are an amazing collection, 99% of them of what I think is a photographer that has photographed a dog show. Now, Kodak first started their manufacturing here in Australia in 1908, and this is actually a picture that you'll see now of the manufacturing plant or building in Melbourne. This was taken in 1940, and this was where the glass plates were actually mass manufactured here. Check out the closed windows so that it was totally light proof. Now, these glass plates are very, very special. What are they worth? Look, most probably not a lot because they're only 1930s. Photography is not an invention that was made overnight. The first glass plate was actually made in 1841. So if you happen to get one of them, they must be worth a lot. But to me, these are worth a fortune because they're just so special. Now, what am I going to do with them? I'm actually heading off next week overseas, so I don't have a lot of time to do a full restoration for them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at a few care techniques if you get anything like this of what you would actually do. The first thing to do is that I've actually got a pair of plastic gloves on. Now, most people think it's cotton gloves, but cotton gloves with glass slides tend to be very, very slippery. So the glass slide can slip out, or the emulsion, which is on the back side of the slide, can actually flake and get stuck onto your glove. So for that reason, I try and use a surgical glove. One that isn't, latex is great, and most of the museums with glass slides will actually use surgical gloves. When I'm looking at the slides, I make sure that I've got the emulsion side up. Now, for those of you that aren't used to the wet process in the darkroom, which is the emulsion side, that's the actual dull side. So if you're looking at which side the emulsion's on, it's the dull side. So I always place them the dull side up. When I'm handling the glass slides, I always handle them from the edges. That's the strongest point of this glass slide. They're very, very fragile. Obviously, the older they are, the more fragile they are, but you know, handle them like that from the edges. It's the best way to do it. So what am I going to do with these when I'm a little bit time poor before I go away? Well, tomorrow I'm going to go down to the newsagents and I'm going to try and buy some acid-free paper. I'm going to cut the acid-free paper around about the same size as the slide and place it on the emulsion, making sure that emulsion is not touching emulsion. Now, a couple of these slides have had the emulsion touching each other and they've become sticky. So if you pick up a box of these, and people often do at garage sales, and you get them out and you find that the slides are stuck together, that's because the emulsion is stuck to each other. So the first thing I want to do is separate that emulsion and protect it. That's really, really important. After that, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put them into some envelopes to store them, because paper is a great source of storing. Now, when I'm looking for an envelope, I'm trying to find one that doesn't have the gum backing. Two things about the gum: really handy when you want to post a letter really quickly and done, but with photography stuff, the gum can get stuck to the slide if things become disheveled in some way, and also the gum resin actually attracts cockroaches. Now, cockroaches love photographic emulsion. They lay their eggs on it, and it will cause the photographic emulsion to deteriorate at a much greater rate. Another thing I should mention is make sure that you're working on a clean surface. I've just laid out a clean sheet, but it's totally, it's not a dirty old table or something that I'm working on. Before I put the acid-free paper on, what I am going to do with these slides is I am going to give them a blow, just with a blower brush, and get any surface dust that I can by this simple and gentle technique off the actual slide. When you're working with them, it's really tempting, especially when you've got a lot of them, to stack them on top of each other. Please avoid doing that. Keep them lying flat and separate. Don't write on the slides. A lot of people are very tempted to grab a Nico or a pen or something like that and write on them. Do not put any sort of ink on them. I will actually write on the envelope some details about the slide. Once I pop them into the envelope, I'm going to actually put them into a shoebox. Now, this is one of the best ways to store them, and I will be storing them so that they're sitting upright. Again, it's on the strongest pane or plane of the glass in a shoebox. There's all sorts of different boxes, and it's preferable if you can get archival boxes that are made out of acid-free cardboard again. You'll pay for these. The shoebox is free, and for the moment when I'm time poor this week, it'll do just fine. Once I've got all the slides into the envelopes and into the cardboard box, I'm actually going to take them down into my office. The office has a dehumidifier, so that will keep the moisture out and hopefully keep any mould from growing on the glass slides and protect them for a lot longer. Well, that just about covers everything for our first tip on how to handle old slides and negatives. Look forward to catching you soon. Bye.